Welcome back, Aviators. Today we have with you the RC Powers SU-27 V5. This is going to be the nose cone build. There's lots of different ways to do this, lots of different ways to set it up. This one's super easy, utilizing the bulkhead that he gives you. And we're going to do it with hot glue. What I've already done is cut out all the parts. I've already done the score and fold. Cut it most of the way through. And I use the blender tape on the back. And let's get started. I don't mind letting it set up just a little bit before I put the nose on. A little something like that. See if I can turn it out when I'm doing this. Trying to keep the bottom piece square with the upright support, and keeping the upright support in line with the crack, or the score and fold I'll call it. It's up front, right up here. Trying to keep it all nice and even. Notice that it's already starting to fold for you. That'll hold for the most part. Alright, next we're going to add in the rear fuselage support for the nose cone. Super easy to do. And all you're doing is applying some glue to the mating surfaces. Nothing really difficult about this. Just going to line it up with the trailing edge and roll it up into its spot. And the important part on this is ensuring that the back portion is flush with the bottom. Use a scrap piece of foam, rub any excess glue off so it's nice and flat. Let that sit for a second. You notice I didn't glue anything up here, but I can do that now. What I'm going to do for that is, you can see it's offset just a little bit, so I'm going to push it down flat with my table, and I'll move that up just a little bit. Just enough glue to catch the edges together. Doesn't have to be a lot. It's not important. Remember, this is supposed to be a breakable piece that you can reuse or chuck, throw away when you're done. Let that sit for a second. Sometimes when people build noses, they use like rubber bands or something to kind of hold the parts together. With this build, it's not necessary because you have the back bulkhead here. All you have to do is line up the edges with the sides of the bulkhead, which is what we're going to do. Just that easy. Just slide it up there and press it down. Just like with the bottom portion, you'll take your extra piece of foam and clean off the edge. I build everything with hot glue except for motor mounts and carbon rod installs. Everything else I do is hot glue. I'm using Dollar Tree foam, so it's super flimsy, and I crash pretty often, about every 8 to 10 flights or something. Not because I'm a terrible pilot, but because I like to fly more aggressively. Coming from the world of 3D flat foamies. That was easy. Now we're going to put the glue on this part. And usually when I glue it, I'll push the part in just a little bit and let it roll down to its flat portion. That way the excess glue usually will go to the inside of the part. When you're doing this little squeegee effect, you can go back over it, and it's going to push a little bit of glue on each side. Went over it too many times, but it wipes off pretty clean. start the other side. As you can see, this is pretty easy. The F-18V3 nose cone, not nearly as easy as this. For me, that was a little piece of glue and hold it, little glue, hold it, little glue and hold it. This one's much easier. And same thing, just holding it flush. Yep. And if you're lucky, the last one will pretty much line up for you. And same thing, push it in just a little bit, let it work its way out so it's nice and flush. Take your scrap and roll it off. Some people don't like all the little strings you get from hot glue. I find that if you press down on your last part and kind of wipe the tip off, you really don't get a whole lot of strings from it. You get a little bit, but not very much. Alright, so there's that first portion. Looks pretty alright. Let's see if we can get the top on here. During my dry fit, I noticed it didn't fit too well. We might have to do a little modification to it. And all I'm doing is lining up the tab. And this is actually going to sit flush, which I like. So you got a couple choices here. You can glue it down in the center here first, or you can just glue it on the inside of each side. And we'll just do all three. So we'll lay a fat bead there, all the way back, and across the back here. Try not to get it everywhere. Try to line it up initially pretty good. Just pull the sides out. The harder this step is, the better your joint's going to be at the end, which is really all that matters. Alright, so we're going to hold the back down and we're going to press the front in. Hold it for a few seconds. Pretty easy. So that's what the rear bulkhead portion looks like. The nose. When I initially cut out the parts, I didn't cut the tip of the bottom part of the nose. I trimmed the top as per the plans, but the bottom part I just left however long it was. Alright, so now get a little glue inside here. A little dab will do you on this. Don't need a whole lot. And this is where rubbing off that extra is going to come in handy. It's going to seal it all up nice and tight. So we'll push that over. Smash it all together. And squeegee it together. And you'll notice that as you're squeegeeing here, the excess is going to overlap both parts here. Not a big deal. That's what it's for. That's what makes it strong. You got glue in between the two parts and over the top, almost like a T. And for the other side. And smash it together. Get all the extra to come out. And this part is done. Squeegee it together. I'm going to fill the gap back here a little bit too. When I do that, I'm actually using the tip of the gun to squeegee it up as I go. So you'll notice, I don't know if it shows up in the camera, but right here is really nice and even. The other side where I didn't do it kind of looks a little wonky. But that's it. That's the nose cone. Easy as that. Some people will fill all these extra parts right here. I'll probably lay a little bead of glue in here just a little reinforcement, especially this centerpiece. It's a little wobbly and it's only held down with tape. So I'll throw a little bit in there. Same thing using the tip of the heat gun, almost like a squeegee. You can run the sides down it too. Nice and clean. You can hardly even tell it's there. This is where saving and not doing this step can save you a lot of weight with the plane. It's not necessary. You're going to break the nose off anyways if you crash. And paint doesn't stick too well to hot glue. It's that easy. Not even worth doing it on the two sides. But on the bottom, it looks like it's worth it. We did the top anyway, so. And there you go. SU-27 V5 nose cone. Complete.